Hey everybody, it's Tim Miller from the Bulwark, and Donald Trump's run of L's just continued today as Joe Biden secured this prisoner swap with Russia that got Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich, dissident politician Vladimir Kara-Murza, and ex-Marine Paul Whelan home in exchange for some other prisoners. Details still to come on that. But here is why this is such a big L for Trump. Let's just back it up in case you haven't kind of followed this all that closely. Over the course of the year, Trump has been saying pretty weirdly and cryptically that he was going to get this Wall Street Journal reporter, Evan Gershkovich, out.
The reporter, I will have him out very quickly as soon as I take office. Before I take office, I said by literally as soon as I win the election, I will have that reporter out.
And he was saying that he wasn't going to give up anything for it. And Putin was only going to do it for him. Putin wouldn't do it for anybody else. He even gave like a very weirdly detailed timeline for how this would happen. Trump said he would win and Evan would be released between the election and the inauguration. It led everybody to believe maybe there's this back channel to Putin. Maybe it's chest beating. Who the fuck knows with Trump, right? He could just be lying, or he could be a Russian asset, or like a little bit of both. But that did not happen, obviously, today, since Joe Biden got to make the announcement of this deal. It's a deal that he was working on with Kamala Harris as well. And before we get to sad Mr. Trump's whines about it, seething Mr. Trump, throwing ketchup at the wall down in Mar-a-Lago over this, let's watch Kamala Harris talk about this prisoner swap.
Vice President, it has been my honor to work alongside our President Joe Biden to bring home more than 70 Americans in the last 3.5 years. And we will never waver in our commitment to bring home every American who has been wrongfully detained or held hostage. That is my solemn commitment to my fellow Americans, which I will always honor. Thank you all.
A strong moment for the vice president, again, getting to kind of demonstrate her foreign policy chops, something I think is really maybe the most underrated element of her, which we'll keep talking about. But for the purposes of this discussion, the political side of this, Trump, after having made that bold and brash promise, having been embarrassed, let's be honest, like embarrassed by Putin, kind of. This is in a lot of ways Putin sort of dominating Trump and showing him who the boss is in the relationship. So embarrassed by Putin, embarrassed by Biden, who he says, has dementia and can't talk, actually like doing this deal before he said he would. The art of the deal, man, getting outdealt by Joe Biden, age 81. And so here was his reaction to that over on his social media feed. You can see here he's trying to undermine, the fact that this could be a good deal, saying, when are they going to release the details? Are we going to give them any cash? He never gave any cash. Are we releasing murderers, killers, thugs? Then he goes on to say, just curious because we never make good deals. But here's the key point. He goes on to say, I got back many hostages and gave the opposing country nothing. And then he goes on, that's the way it should be, or the situation will get worse and worse. So there you go. There's whiny Trump trying to make the best of the fact that he was outmaneuvered again. But here's the problem with that. Senator Chris Murphy, who is a very serious advocate for hostages around the world. I did an interview with him about this topic actually for Snapchat a while back. And so he knows his facts. He sees this bleat from Trump, and he drops a social media sledgehammer on him on the actual details of the swaps during Trump's administration. Here's the first one. November 19, Trump gave up 3 Taliban prisoners in a swap. December 2020, he gave up 2 Iranian prisoners in a swap. In July of 20, he gave up another Iranian prisoner in a swap. And in October of 20, he gave up 250 Houthi militants in a swap for just 2 Americans. That's particularly notable given that, it's these Houthis, it's the Houthi rebels that have been attacking American ships in the Red Sea, including a new U.S. aircraft carrier recently. So This is a loser for Trump. He's lying as usual. He's having a temper tantrum about it, and we're right now in the midst of almost a 2-week run where everything has been a catastrophe for him, from the J.D. Vance pick through Joe Biden stepping aside, through Kamala's just rocket ship of a launch, through his ham-handed, racist, idiotic remarks at the National Black Journalists Conference. It's just been L after L after L, and today Joe Biden just dropped another one right on his lap. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with more videos on this feed, the Bulwark Podcast with George Conway. So check us out, subscribe to the feed, tell your friends. See y'all soon.